Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Here we are with a video dedicated to HeadRush. The new 5.1 update has been released and everyone's talking about it. There's some big news. So HeadRush is now able to read NAMs, all NAMs, version 1, version 2, light, and full. This is a very interesting update that opens a lot of doors for these units, considering that it starts from the smallest, most affordable one, the Flex Prime, all the way up to the flagship, which is the Prime. Now I'll show you how to download and install the new update. Remember to always make a backup save of your things first to avoid any potential problems. And then we're going to listen to some examples of some sounds. It should be said that it's not the only update, so it's not just NAM. A new amp model made by Revolver has also been added, which should be a JCM 800 with its relative cabinet, so a new model, and some things have been fixed and some parameters added to the BBD delay, if I remember correctly, and then some things on the drum machine and a clock that can be saved on the display, so I can see the time or set a timer. But let's say the fundamental things are the new amp model, the possibility to read NAM, and the delay modification. Let's go straight to a short video on how to install the new update and how to link your cloud with the cloud of Tone 3000, which is basically the primary partner in this NAM operation. Let's call it that. It's a straightforward process that'll get everything synced up perfectly. Afterwards, we'll listen to some sounds, but then I'd also like to make a small reflection because is all that glitters really gold? Thanks to this update, will we have stratospheric sounds or will we solve our sound problems? Who knows? Let's go straight to see how to load the new update. As always, the update process happens automatically via Wi-Fi. So first, go ahead and turn on your machine, then just wait a moment for the startup phase to complete. And then, magically, just as you've come to expect, you'll see the new firmware update message appear right there on your screen. It loads a rig for me and then tells me, watch out, look, we have a new firmware. Do you want to read the release notes? Here are the release notes that are REMI. Obviously, all of this is also available on the website, so you can download the new firmware from the HeadRush site, read the release notes with all the details on what's been updated, and then upload everything from your computer to your device. Okay, so here you just need to patiently wait for the time required for the download and the subsequent update of your firmware. Once you finally reach the end of the process, you'll see the progress bar is now fully loaded. However, please make sure to wait just a little bit longer to ensure that the firmware is actually fully installed and updated on the device after the initial download phase is complete. The whole operation takes 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes. It also depends on the speed of your network. Once that's done, there's a nice refresh. Here it is. The device turns off and back on. You have to wait a bit longer. Now it loads the new firmware. It shows us again what's been updated. So it tells us, okay, what's there, what's not. Give it a read if you want. Otherwise, you can download the README file from their site. Everything's indicated there. At the end, close the page with the X at the top. Okay, and it will return, as always, to one of your rigs. What you need to do right now is head over to the Cloud section. So go ahead and select from the main grid, Cloud, then Connect, and it will then show you a QR code on the screen. If you're already registered, simply take your cell phone and bam! You make the connection using the QR code, which instantly connects us directly to the site. It will then ask for your email address if you're not already connected, let's say. You just give it the OK, and magically, the device is paired with your profile on the HeadRush cloud. It really is that straightforward to get everything set up and ready to go for your next session. Okay, so now the device, for instance mine, wasn't connected. So now this one is connected because I had only connected the core. You see your favorites, you can browse around and look for presets made by others, captures, and so on. You have to do the same thing for Tone 3000, which is the button at the bottom right that you see. So same procedure, you connect, bam. I had already done it, so it just paired this device to my profile as well. The very first thing it would do actually is give you a code and send it to your email. Basically a link with which it will say, okay, you have entered the cloud and I have registered you. So it's a really simple thing. Just hit OK. Then you see, give it a read. From here, you can start browsing, looking for your NAM profiles. You can pre-listen to them. But we'll look at this better on the desktop app. So doing a preview, downloading them, saving them, and renaming them. All right, we're back. So as we've seen, it's really not very complicated at all to load the new firmware update. And it's quite simple to then link up all your profiles via QR code with a phone or even a tablet to the various portals, so to Tone 3000 or to the HeadRush cloud. I've gone ahead and downloaded a few of these NAM profiles to go and listen a bit to what you can get and really explore what this new NAM technology actually has to offer us. For those who don't know, NAM is Neural Amp Modeling. So it's let's say a profiling technology. Let's call it that. Profile, capture, whatever we want to call it, which is able to it's declared as the most interesting, the most precise, the most accurate capture of an amp or a complete rig. So amp, cabinet, plus other effects in front or even stomp boxes, even reverbs I've seen. So let's say it's one of the most qualified and most accurate captures available today. And besides, it's open source. So the open source code is, let's say, continuously implemented by dedicated engineers who have a real passion for music and who make this whole thing feasible and completely free. And so basically in recent years, it has really been a revolution. So much so that many companies producing modelers or profilers may be starting to ask themselves the question, but okay, is what I've done so far and what I'm doing right? Will it still be a positive thing for the market? Will it still be a positive thing for the users? Maybe we'll look at this together later, as we'll do the reasoning together later, because I'll tell you what I think. Everyone obviously then draws their own evaluations, and each of us is free to think differently. But I have some doubts, some perplexity there. All right, so let's do this. Let's go listen to some profiles I've downloaded by doing two analyses. Now here, as you can see, I am currently sharing with you. Let me just double check that everything is displaying correctly. Yes, I am sharing my screen with the HeadRush editor. If we take a closer look here, you will notice it has been modified just a little bit. Specifically, if you look over here in the left-hand area where that cloud icon is located, you will see the Browse button, which is obviously what you use to go ahead and search through all of my personal content. Right here, you can check if you're currently linked to your account, and just down here, you'll see the Tone 3000 interface. From this section, you can easily go ahead and search for your favorites or check My Tones if you've already saved something. Alternatively, you can start browsing through the various profiles that are available to you, which are completely free and open for everyone to use. I mean, look, let's just say this. This entire portal is absolutely packed with profiles created by people just like us, who have a genuine, deep passion for music. They have all the amps, the stomp boxes, and the specific effects they want to profile, and then they share their own unique profile with everyone else. Just as happens in the Cortex cloud, and just as it happens in other clouds from other brands as well. This is exactly where I think the first major problem arises, because there is just so much stuff that you really need to have the patience to sit there and sift through all of the various profiles to find the one that you like the best. Let's remember that a profile, a capture, is a static snapshot. So what I open and play and hear, for better or worse, can only be modified in a limited way. In other words, if I captured an amp with the gain at 7, the bass at 9, the mids at 5, the treble at 7, or whatever you want, that's the core character of the sound. Then once I've downloaded it, and I'll show you, you can indeed reduce the gain, but it's not like reducing it directly on an amplifier. This is, let's say, an option that's provided. Imagine it's like an adjustment on an external preamp that reduces your input signal a bit to then reduce the gain. Are there any EQ possibilities? Yes, there are EQ possibilities, but they work in post, so they don't, the famous tone stack, modify what's pre-vacuum tubes, post-vacuum tubes, and so on, okay? Just to be clear. So let's just pick something at random. Okay, now I just clicked by chance on the super overdrive, but one of the very interesting things is that before downloading the file, you can let's say you can listen to it. So by clicking on it here, as you can see it's a Vox AC30 TB made by Robbie Rocks in this case. And here he's put some profiling done with a Ribbon 160, mic'd with a 421, mic'd with the SM57. As you can see, here you have two buttons. One is download and one is play. The play button, and this is really very interesting, allows you to play the preview of that specific amplifier or that specific effect yourself without downloading it at all, because maybe you don't like it and you're not interested. So by doing this, I've now gone ahead and pressed play. You can't see it right now, but on the unit itself, it'll show you an empty rig with the NAM icon displayed. Let's take a moment to hear exactly how that sounds. Right now, I'm using the tremolo bridge pickup. Should we hear the one done with the 421? Okay, let's look for some crunch stuff. It's not here, so let's go take a look. Let's see. Friedman, no. Let's check this Vox, which, if I remember correctly, I had also downloaded. Yeah, it could be, because it's from Signal Theory Audio, who are famous for captures and such. Let's go listen to it. Okay, it's available. This volume is very low. Let us try another one now. These are basically clean sounds. There we go, bit of crunch. Okay, so here, there's still a small bug, and I'm using Safari. As you can see, it doesn't show me the whole list of, let's say, the available samples. So let's go check out another one. Let's see this one here. See, it bugged out here and it won't show us all of it. Now this one here isn't showing because we had already opened it before. Let's see if changing amp model shows it better. Okay, so what we have here is a classic Marshall 50 lead, a true Plexi style amplifier. This particular unit is crafted by the team over at Agma Audio, who have become quite famous in the industry for their incredibly accurate and high-quality digital captures. Let's hear how it sounds. Listen to that volume. Too much even. Well, this is nice. I'll decide to download it. Do you want to download this? You can modify it. Let's go ahead and write the Plexi 50 crunch and save it to the device. Download. Perfect. Now that we've successfully saved it, keep in mind that this doesn't mean I've already implemented it into the rig just yet, okay? Let's go back to our rig. This is just a simple example I had made previously. Now, let's create a brand new one from scratch together. Here we take our amp model, and then we have to ask ourselves, where exactly do we find it? Let's go into clone. As you can see, the Neural Amp Modeler icon has been added. Let's go inside. Load NAM. So we load the NAMs. Here are the folders you see, HeadRush Cloud, Tone 3000, or User. We'll be able to find it right here in Tone 3000, and because this is a file we originally found on their site, it's going to be saved there automatically for us. I went ahead and called it Plexi Crunch. As you can see, you can also do a search here, okay? And here it is. So double click, choose, take it, okay? Now we should find the sound we heard earlier. Okay, the volume's definitely a bit better here already. Now let's see exactly how we're doing here with the outputs. Okay, this is a nice profile. Very good. From here, as you can see, the profiles are complete. In this case, we have an amp with the head and the cabinet. Then if, as you saw in the browser, you can see the details of how this amp was captured, with which cabinet, with which microphones, the detail, if there's also maybe a boost in front. So the people who go and do these captures then also indicate, they also give details to better explain to us how this sound was created and give us an idea already of what we're going to listen to or set up. What do you see here? Here on the right, you see Neural Amp Modeler, and here we have some parameters which are obviously, well, a gate, a suppressor, whether you want to activate or deactivate the EQ. In that case, it doesn't do anything because we haven't touched some things. If you want to normalize the levels, I imagine here actually turning it on and off doesn't do anything because maybe they had already normalized the levels themselves. But if there were to be a capture that's too low, I imagine that this little button would normalize, level the volumes. Here, you can choose whether to use light mode, therefore reducing the quality a bit. Listen, it changes, but it's really a minimal thing, huh? So if you want to save a bit of space, you can very well use light mode because this is a NAMA 2, so the latest version, much more accurate than the previous one. One particularly interesting thing to note is that HeadRush claims you can load all those various NAM profiles without any loss of audio quality whatsoever, which is something that other modelers or profilers on the market simply do not do. Sonolab, for example, is another one of those that declares and affirms, and it's true, that it has no loss in file quality when it's loaded into their products. Well, so from here on, what do? We go and do what we were doing before. So we go and add the effects, delay, EQ, and so on. One tip that might be really interesting is to maybe go and work on the input of this NAM. Why exactly are we looking at this specific NAM file? Because I can get, let's say, sounds that are also a bit less saturated, give a bit more dynamics, manage to find, let's say, a more interesting sound. Let's hear it. Hear that? By cranking the input way up, it goes into extreme saturation, but that's because it's like there's a preamp giving it an initial boost, you know? So it breaks up later too. And obviously the noise increases too. Let's add, I don't know, maybe just, let's go ahead and grab a little bit of that delay real quick. Let's grab an air delay, which we always like a lot. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Let's do stereo dub. Let's definitely go ahead and lower the mix, and then we should also lower the feedback amount. Okay, that sounds better. Let's go ahead and add I think we should maybe go ahead and put a really nice clean overdrive stomp box right in front of it to finish it off. Let's use this one. Defaults in. Hear how well it responds to the dynamics? So, qualitatively speaking, we've definitely gained a lot of value here. Another important thing to consider is let's say, the significant amount of time you have to spend searching for all the various files. So, I played it safe. I went to check out a few different websites and I found like 2 clear examples. Okay, this, for example, is a box. Now it is time to add the new delay. Tone juke, which I really like because it was a beautiful clean. Then we start adding in maybe the usual delay, some ambience, and a bit more, well, let's say wet. And this is definitely a profile that can easily take some delay and distortion right in front of it, which really helps to improve the overall setup. The delay pushes the profile more into, let's say, crunch the profile. No, because it's like I'm giving it even more volume inside. And so I'm increasing what is let's say the saturation of the amp. And then I can put in front, let's take off the delay in front, maybe the classic tube screamer. This, for example, I think is a beautiful profile, a beautiful sound that can be worked in many ways. I put some work in here anyway. As you can see, I worked on the EQ a bit because otherwise the sound would be like this. Okay, this was a bit darker, so I opened it up a bit. Okay. But then I said, fine, but this NAM profile, in the end, does it really make that much of a difference? So I decided to try and put a top boost that's here as an amp model in HeadRush, and while keeping the exact same EQ, I went ahead and put 2 impulse responses in there. One that's already here in HeadRush, and one of my own. And then I just said to myself, well, let's sit back and hear exactly what comes out of this. We're not very far apart. Is the texture different? Yes, it is. But because of exactly how that NAM profile was originally recorded and sampled, obviously I can then go and modify the sound here in a much more aggressive and effective way. Does that make sense? Okay. So if I start working on the mids, the lows with the cut, I mean, you'll hear right away, I'm just doing it randomly now, that the sound changes a lot. Let's brighten it up. Let's take out these lows. So I don't hear that much of a difference. Obviously, they'll be a bit different now in terms of EQ because I'd have to sit there and let's say play around with the various frequencies, open and close some things, because I really did this in 2 seconds. Okay, let's go ahead and hear another capture I found. For example, this one is actually very heavy in this specific case. It was truly brutal, as they say, and it was a rev. So, as you can see here, for example, I pulled the input, I set it to -16. Okay, because when I installed it, everything was at 0, and it sounded like a total mess. Which can definitely work in certain contexts, but I feel it's a bit too muffled, a bit too punchy. Imagine it in a PA system when we're live. I think a sound like that really struggles to cut through. It creates a cyst. Let's say it sounds pretty fizzy. So that's why I say that the difficulty is also finding the right captures, so the right profiles to use without wasting hours and hours, then risking ruining things rather than having, let's say, control over your sound. If we were to, let's say, reduce the overall input of the profile, and then we put a little bit of stomp box right in front of it, that would likely change the entire outcome of the process.
I really want you to take a moment and hear exactly how the Stompbox gives it that specific punchy attack that really clears everything up. It's quite remarkable how it cleans up the pick and definition, especially when you're dealing with such heavy distortion. It's almost like it carves out a space in the mix that wasn't there before, allowing every single note to cut through with incredible clarity and precision, even when you're pushing the limits of your gear. Then maybe if you want to play solos, you really have to give it some extra mids, because they are noticeably missing here, and that is essential for your sound to cut through the mix properly. You definitely need a nice delay to really make those lead lines stand out and sing the way they should. It makes a world of difference when you dial that in just right. There we go. That sounds much better now. Okay, so these were, let's say, just a few examples of the captures you can find of NAM files. But honestly speaking, in my opinion, the real, let me just go ahead and switch back here. Let's say, in my honest opinion, the real question here is this. Okay, it is a great, beautiful, and big update, and surely it is incredibly useful for all of us to have such a free database available to use. But then the risk, let's say, on the other hand, is simply being a slave to having to search through billions of profiles just to find the one we actually like. To then, anyway, because we guitarists are like that, we like to change the sound, tweak a little something, move forward, discover new things, being tied to that capture, and therefore not having the full freedom to be able to modify the sound to your liking, right? And that's something that with amp modeling you can do and will be able to do. The quality of amp modeling continues to increase in terms of replicating sounds of amps and cabinets. And so let's say it leaves us with a very important freedom of action in the sound. This is what I truly believe is, at least in my humble opinion, and for my own personal taste, I think it's incredibly important. I really think it's the single biggest real advantage of using a digital system. The fact that you are able to have so much choice and to be able to personally modify your own sound, the tone shaping, and so modify it exactly as you want it to be. Okay, I really hope that this topic might be interesting for you as well. Please leave a comment below and tell me what you think about this topic too. Modelers yes, modelers no. Will NAM, let's say, flatten everything else in the modeler world? Or will it, let's say, dent some market shares for major brands like Quad Cortex, or rather Neural Quad Cortex, like Line 6, Helix, Fractal, and so on? I honestly don't think so, but I might be wrong. One last thing before I go. I'll be doing this soon. I've been a bit busy these past few months. You'll see why soon, because I'll explain it in a dedicated video. But I'll also start again in September with specific videos on Neural and Quad Cortex. So many people have asked me to do a sort of masterclass, a course, let's say, a bit more detailed on the various aspects of Quad Cortex. I'll do it. It'll be free. I'll try to release a video every 2 weeks, so to tackle the various topics, starting from the, let's say, the machine setups, so from the basic start, even for new users, moving forward step by step, showing the various possibilities there are, so from the simplest rigs to the most complex rigs to stereo rigs used for live on tour. This is a preview of one of the upcoming videos. Well, thank you, goodbye, and I'll see you next time. Bye.